Hi everybody, welcome to the second lesson in this unit on estimating products. Be sure to start by writing the title of tonight's lesson on your paper as you go through and take notes. Our learning goal for the unit is how I can use place value to multiply a two-digit number by another two-digit number. Today, we're going to look at strategies that we can use to estimate products. Let's start with the problem. The Smith family opens the door to their refrigerator 32 times in one day. There are 31 days in May. About how many times is it opened in May? To solve this problem, I know I need to figure out about how many times the door is opened in May. That word "about" should send off alarms in your head. It signifies your need to estimate. The problem tells me that there are 31 days in the month of May and that the Smith family opens their refrigerator 32 times in one day. Since they open their refrigerator 32 times in one day, the problem I would solve is 32 times 31. One way I could solve 32 times 31 is to use rounding. As we know, when we find an estimate using rounding, we want to round first and then calculate. So 32 rounds to 30, and 31 also rounds to 30. Then I use my basic fact of 3 times 3 to give me 9. And I put my two zeros from 30 and 30 into my answer to give me my estimate of 900. So the Smith family refrigerator is opened about 900 times in the month of May. Now remember, we already know that the Smith's family refrigerator is opened about 900 times per day. Let's use that information to solve this problem. On average, a refrigerator door is opened 38 times each day. About how many fewer times in May is the Smith's family refrigerator door opened than the average refrigerator door? The question in this problem still has that keyword "about," so I know I'm going to want to find an estimate. About how many fewer times in May is the Smith family's refrigerator door opened than the average refrigerator door? Tells me that I want to subtract. What I'm going to subtract is the average refrigerator door opening from the Smith family. I already have the answer to how many times the Smith family refrigerator is opened from the previous problem, and that's 900. I need to figure out about how many times the average refrigerator door is opened for the month of May. The problem tells me that that door was opened about 38 times each day. That means I would multiply 38 times the total number of days in May, which was 31, to find this answer. Using my method of rounding, I could round both of those numbers to the nearest 10. 38 is going to round to 40, and 31 is still going to round to 30. Now I'm going to multiply using my basic fact. 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. With my two zeros, the average refrigerator is opened about 1,200 times per day. To answer my question now, I need to subtract 1,200 minus 900. 0 minus 0 and 0 minus 0 leaves me with 2 minus 9. I can regroup to get 12 minus 9. 12 minus 9 is 3. So that tells me that the average refrigerator is opened 300 times more than the Smith family's, or that the Smith's family refrigerator is opened 300 times less than the average family. Copy this example into your notes so that you have another one to look at when you do your check problems later this evening. Let's do another one together. All 24 light bulbs in the Park family's home are CFL light bulbs. Each CFL light bulb uses 28 watts to produce light. About how many watts will the light bulbs use when turned on at the same time? Again, I see that word about, which tells me I'm going to estimate. And I need to find how many watts the light bulbs use when they're turned on at the same time. So I look back in my problem to see how many watts those light bulbs used. I see that there are 24 light bulbs in the Park family's house. I also see that those light bulbs use 28 watts each. So to find out how many watts of power that they're using when they're all turned on at the same time, I'm going to multiply 24 times 28. Since my problem says about, I'm going to use the strategy of rounding to find my answer. The number 24 will round to 20. The number 28 will round to 30. Using my basic fact, 2 times 3, and then putting my zeros in my answer, I see that, in this case, I'm using about 600 watts to run every light bulb at the same time. But of course, there's another strategy. That strategy is to use compatible numbers. Compatible numbers are just numbers that you can compute with easily in your head. To solve 24 times 28 using compatible numbers, instead of rounding 24 to 20, I would simply round it to 25. Since I can pretty easily multiply by 25, thinking of money. I would then round 28 to 30 to find my estimate. I think 25 times 3 is 75. So 25 times 30 then has an extra 0 for 750. In this case, giving me an estimate of 750 watts. Using compatible numbers will get you an estimate that's closer to your exact answer. So let's try this. Estimate 26 times 79. Let's do it using both strategies. Go ahead and copy down these examples and then answer the question on the bottom. To solve 26 times 79 using rounding, I'm going to write my problem up and down. 79 times 26. 79 is going to round to 80, and 26 will round to 30. Using my basic fact of 8 times 3, that's 24. Adding my 2 zeros, I get 2,400 as my estimate. If I solve 79 times 26 using compatible numbers, I would still round 79 to 80. But instead of rounding 26 to 30, I would round it to 25. Now I would think 8 times 25. If I have 8 25s, I have 200. Adding the 0 from the 80 to my answer, I get an estimate of about 2,000. Now think about the situations where you might use estimates rather than exact answers in your real life. Write down an answer to that question now, and we'll talk about it tomorrow when we do the whole group part of our lesson. It's time for your check. Complete the lesson check that accompanies today's videos and work those problems out on your notes. Bring your notes with you to class tomorrow so that when we review those problems, you'll have them to check and follow along with. Have a great night.